I call Reno Tirakatini.
Tēnā koe, Mr. Speaker.
Tēnā koe.
Tēnā koutou ngā rangatira Hurunui tō tātou whare. Me pēnei taku kōrero. Ko te tapu ai o Uenuku te maunga. Ko te tai o Marakura te moana. Ko takahanga te marae. Ko Ngāti Kuri te hapu. Ko Ngai Tahu te iwi. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa. Mr. Speaker, I wanted to, at the outset, relay the pepeha from my whanaungas at Kaikoura, the hapu of Ngāti Kuri, and also extending through to the community of Kaikoura, sir. And those geographical features of the landscape, sir, yes, they have withstood a 7.8 earthquake, sir, but the mountain, the moana, the coastline, the marae, and the hapu and the iwi stand firm, stand resolute, and stand strong, sir. And so I wanted to, first of all, acknowledge this, and this is my first contribution being back in the House. And I want to acknowledge Mr. Smith, my colleague, who we share the same geographic space, sir, with the Kaikoura and Hurunui districts, albeit, sir, that mine's slightly a bit larger. You can add another 20 more electorates onto his electorate, and you'll just cover Te Tai Tonga. But, sir, I would like to acknowledge his work in the immediate aftermath as the local member. And there is one other constant, sir, and that is the Māori member, and that is I, sir. And I am the other constant member, the other local constant member who is there to dutifully serve my constituents, who mostly are my whānau, sir. And I like to just put a plug in for the Māori member as well. And sir, last Wednesday, I was fortunate enough to speak at the daily public briefings that take place on Churchill Park, and I was joined by our leader, Andrew Little, but also Mayor Winston. And it was heartening, sir, just to see, whilst there was hardship amongst the local community, there was a real sense of, the determination to get things back to normal in Kaikoura. And that was very strong. And don't get me wrong, sir, things are tough there at the moment, particularly with the access routes being closed off and the flow-on effects, obviously through the damages done through the earthquake to the infrastructure, and in particular, sir, the impact on housing, temporary relocations of whānau outside of the districts, and the economic impacts with, in particular, the tourism industry, and it's all its interconnected businesses, and the fisheries industry. But it was that sense of determination that they will get through this, that they wanted to bring normality back to their lives. And I spoke at that public meeting, sir, and as did Andrew Little, and we gave a reassurance, because that was just in the initial stages of the crafting of this legislation, that we would work in a cross-party fashion approach to ensure that we expeditiously pass this legislation through, sir. And so I'm delighted to be able to do that, to be able to stand here on this at this first reading. And, sir, I want to take this opportunity, sir, because this is my first. Whilst we are moving into a recovery phase, I must give some acknowledgements to those that responded at that emergency phase, who I've had the pleasure of mixing with in my various helicopter visits and vehicle rides over rough terrain and massive cracks and landslips, to get to talk to the local people and the wonderful emergency services and other support that have been there and that continue to be there. And in particular, sir, I do want to acknowledge the community, obviously, of Kaikoura, who we're there and we're supporting them through this, but also the local hapu, Ngāti Kuri, the wonderful work that they've done at Takahanga Marae and continue to do, Te Runanga o Ngāi Tahu, the wonderful work that they did with the the use of their helicopters, deployment of staff, support, getting provisions in, dealing with local families, absolutely unbelievable. And even extending that back to the whānau and Tuahui, Ngai Tuhuriri, who are hosting and still are hosting some evacuees at the marae there. And this effort, sir, it cuts across all the communities, and we're putting forward this legislation which is going to help get the resulting approvals or consents that are required to deal with all of the compliance aspects of emergency works that's being undertaken. And I want to just quickly, sir, I don't intend to take up too much time, but I wanted to, we know that this is we're dealing with an emergency situation, and so usual timeframes, even usual emergency timeframes, have to be extended in extraordinary circumstances. And we all support and endorse the intent around that. But I want to focus, sir, on the restoration of the harbour aspect. And for those that know Kaikoura, sir, South Bay is the main marina, the main access route for all boats and other vessels. So it services the fishing industry, the tourism industry, right there in that marina. And as we know, sir, there's been a major uplift of the coastal area, which means that access is only permitted, roughly around high tide. So it's caused a huge disruption. But I was fortunate enough, sir, to again talk to my whanaungas at Whale Watch, Kauahi Ngāpora, and also the wonderful people at Encounter Kaikoura, who also run a well-renowned business with the dolphins. And so it is essential that this dredging work take place to allow access to the port. And it was good to talk to the engineers that were already on site. Engineers, ECAM people, there's a lot of mobilisation of expertise that are planning how they are going to tackle those works. Because having fished in South Bay, sir, recreationally, I've lost quite a few cray pots just beyond the access route, where the passage routes where the vessels come in and out. And so, sir, it is rocky. It is pretty hard down there. And so I'm sure there'll be quite a lot of works that will be required. And as we know, sir, the work that will be taking place will require some exceptional amendments to the Resource Management Act to ensure that it can be carried out in compliance with the law. And just in conclusion, sir, I do want to once again commend everyone that's been involved from all sides in the passage, the creation of this legislation. And I also commend the referral to the local government and Environment Select Committee. And I know that they will be continuing this good work tomorrow, and however long it takes while the House is sitting, to hear and follow a robust process so we can bring the bill back on Thursday and complete its passage through the House. And so to conclude, sir, I would just like to say apiti hono tātai hono, rātou te hunga mata ki a rātou, apiti hono tātai hono, tātou te hunga ora ki a tātou, tēnā koutou, kia ora hui mai no tātou katoa.